So I think the first format we created is HRX with Hrithik Roshan. I think he visited one of our cult centers when we were barely into 4th center, I think JP Nagar Center. What do you remember about that trip, and also how did you work with him and his training team to create what became HRX eventually?
Yeah, so HRX, it started by the first meeting that we did with Hrithik Roshan, and of course, I mean, you know him for a very long time, but I mean, I got to know at that time, and I knew as a film star he's very passionate about fitness, but in reality I got to know at that time that he's actually very deep into fitness, and creating a workout with him was a great opportunity. He's had a bunch of injuries that he spoke about in that meeting, and how, I mean, he's had access to some really good trainers, how all of them have put together a program that works for him really well and lets him the kind of fitness that he shows in movies, the kind of athleticism that he shows in his movies, all of that requires a lot of all-round fitness. And that program worked really well for him. So it started by understanding from him, like what are the things that he does to work around the injuries. And he spoke about something called zero momentum rep at that time. And zero momentum rep means doing a repetition very, very slow. So he told us that because of his injuries, he's not able to lift very heavy weights, and he has to provide that kind of stimulus for his muscles to become strong and larger. He uses time under tension as a leverage to make that happen. So he would lift a very light dumbbell, but take 15 seconds to do a bicep curl.
So how it look like if you do a bicep curl in slow motion?
Yeah, it's like you're doing nothing. It's just moving very slow. We didn't do it that slow. We incorporated ZMR, zero momentum rep and cult. We made it a 5 to 6 second.
So what was this HRX format was designed for whom? And what are the core design principles that went into creating this format?
Yeah, so one thing that we kept in mind was that this is going to be a program which is around hypertrophy as a concept, first thing. So helping people build more muscle, which is of course very healthy in the long run. While they do that, I mean, traditionally, building muscle was looked at as people have rounded shoulders, big, large biceps, but that is not what building muscle is all about. You also have to be very functional at the same time. And that is where the element of mobility and flexibility came in. And it was not flexibility blindly increasing the range of motion. It was more about functional flexibility. So if you're doing a deadlift, your hamstring will go under a stretch and a flex. So we want to make you strong at that range. And that was another concept that we plugged along with the typical hypertrophy training. For hypertrophy, we used more than lifting heavier weights, we used time under tension, which is zero momentum that came from Hrithik's training methodology. These two, and again, a lot of focus on recovery. So these three things put together became HRX workout in the beginning. We also had a lot of floor work, a lot of primal movements coming in, because that's something that Hrithik also did.
What is a primal movement?
Basically the
animal movement, animal flow movement.
Animal movements, down on all fours, moving like an ape, moving like a bear.
Without laughing.
Without laughing,
Or I guess laughing is also good for you.
It's great.
You can watch somebody else walk like an ape, but you can laugh. So one guy gets mental benefit, other guy is getting physically stronger.
So a lot of those kind of things to make people very functional. So people become functional, they also end up achieving some hypertrophy.
So HRX was one, first like a big hit, new format we created. Obviously, Hrithik, played a very big role. I think he was very deeply involved, very committed to, and I think his core idea was, I want to make fitness accessible to everybody. It's not only for, people who want to be, elite athletes or look a certain way, but almost anyone should be able to walk into the gym and get active.